Hello, music lovers. How's everyone doing? It's me, James, coming back at you with another music collections video. Today we're going to take a little turn back in time, I guess, and talk about a classic rock band that I like an awful lot, and I'm sure that everyone is very familiar with, and I just want to show my collection. I'm not going to be doing any ranking. I'm not going to go into in depth about any albums or do any types of reviews, or really even talk about too much of my favorite songs, because it changes so much with this band that it really is going to depend on my mood, what variation of the band I'm interested at the time I want to listen to them, and whatever the mood is going to strike me. So I'm going to talk today about Pink Floyd, and really kind of just more or less show you my collection that I have in Pink Floyd. So that's what I'm here to do today. I hope you enjoy the video. And there's quite a lot to get through here, and in the effort of trying to make this reasonable in length, it is going to be kind of, I'm going to show you the album, maybe talk briefly about it, maybe talk about some of my favorites a little bit more than others, but mostly just show you my music collection. So we'll get right to it. And first off, I think I'll show you the most recent thing that I guess one of the more recent things I've purchased from Pink Floyd, and that is this a box set. And anybody who is interested in getting more in-depth information about this box set, I'm just going to refer you to my very good friend here in the VC, James Lack. Did a complete review, went through each album, went through the artwork, went through all of that already with the Pink Floyd Discovery box. You know, there are pros and cons to this box, I'm not going to lie. I personally really like it. I like the design. I like the fact that they've updated a lot of things about this classic catalog from Pink Floyd in this box. It includes all of the studio albums that I'll go through on my vinyl. I'm not going to go through them all on this box. But if you're looking for really good quality CD sounding, more up-to-date artwork, this is the box for you. If you want the classic artwork, you want the original stuff, this probably isn't going to be your cup of tea, because they did change some of the artwork. I mean, the covers are similar. You're not going to see any radical differences in the album covers, but what you are going to see is different labels. You're going to see different pictures on the inserts of the CD jackets, I guess you call them. And I guess this outer advertisement kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. You can see that all the albums are on there, but you can see pretty clearly there that the CD pictures themselves on the CD are not original. So for me, it was the right thing to do. I did not have hardly anything of Pink Floyd on CD, so I'm really quite happy with this, and the sound quality is amazing. So for me, it was the right decision. Now, there is another box set that is probably harder to find and probably a lot more expensive, that has the original artwork, the original album designs, and all that. So honestly, for me, I wasn't as interested in that, because I really wanted something kind of unique and fresh, because I have all the original albums. We're going to go through them here. So if I want the original, I have that. But the Discovery box was great for me, because it kind of puts a little bit of a different twist and flair on things. And you know, for someone who already has all the originals, it's out there, you can find it. If that's what you want, go for it. If you want something new, unique, different, and fresh, then this Discovery box set is a great addition to your collection. So I'm glad I bought it. I'm just going to go through each album in chronological order, tell you what year it was released, and talk a little bit about, you know, some of my favorites. And you know, Pink Floyd has been discussed so much, and there are so many videos out there. I really just want to share with you some of my favorites and show you a couple of the unique items I have, and just kind of go through my collection. So obviously things start with their debut album in 1967. This came out the year I was born. I just gave away my age, but that's okay. No secrets there. Pink Floyd, Piper at the Gates of Dawn was the first album, and this is the only full album that featured Mr. Syd Barrett. I do like this incarnation of Pink Floyd. I will say that this is not an original copy. In fact, this is a bootleg. It is hard to find an original copy of this. I'll show you my copy of the vinyl record, and you can clearly see that it's a bootleg. First of all, it's on this funky grayish, purplish vinyl, and I will say, though, that the sound quality is quite nice, and I'm not unhappy with it. I do hope to someday get an original copy of this, but they're not cheap, and they're not easy to find, and it's not a real high priority for me. I'm quite happy just to have this bootleg, I guess you'll call it. Unofficial release, you might call it that. Either way, I paid $20 for it, and the sound quality is good, and I can enjoy the album, and that's good enough for me. This has 11 songs on it. They're all really good. I do like the hits that everyone knows, Bike, and the usual stuff. Matilda Mother's another one that I really care for. So, this was a great beginning. It's I almost feel like when I listen to this, I am listening to a different band. Because Pink Floyd really, really got famous after this and after the Syd Barrett era. Some people consider this era of Pink Floyd the one and only, their favorite. And I won't say it's my favorite era of Pink Floyd. I'm not a massive Syd Barrett fan. But I think for the time, and I think for that day and age, it was the one of the more unique sounding albums that came out in 1967, and one of my favorite albums of that year. I will show you one other Syd Barrett type related. Well, I guess I have a couple things. I'm going to go all over the place, I guess. But this was a record store release, I think, in 2010 or 2011, and this is kind of a compilation of Syd Barrett's work, both with Pink Floyd and some of his solo stuff. I do not have Syd Barrett's solo albums. I'm not a fan, if I'm being honest, of Syd Barrett's solo albums. I don't think they're up to par. The first album, which was I can't even think of the title of it now. I guess it's not that important, but this is about 50-50. The first this is a double album. The first two sides are pretty much Pink Floyd era. Pink Floyd stuff, and then you get into his solo stuff, Terrapin, Love You, Dark Globe. Gosh, I'm stuck on trying to figure out the name of his solo albums, but it's really not important. You guys know what they are. I don't own them. I know they were recently reissued. I've got ample opportunity to buy them if I want. It's just not a high priority for me. I do appreciate Syd Barrett. I think he was and could have been a great musician, a great long term. I would have loved to seen what he could have done in his career had he not gone bonkers and gone off on his deep end with the drugs and all that. But it's a very unfortunate. I'm not trying to dismiss him. I think he was a talented guy, but it's just not my favorite era of Pink Floyd. Moving on with the Pink Floyd catalog, we'll go to the next year, 1968, and I want to show you my copy of A Saucer Full of Secrets. This is a nice copy. This happens to be, I think, an Italian copy. It's maybe a French copy. Unfortunately, I've forgotten where I got this. I did buy it online, and I was really happy with the condition of this album. This is a really, really nice, clean copy. I do not know how original this is. This is French. This is a French copy. And I'll show you the label. If you haven't seen a French copy of this record, you might be interested to see it. And extremely clean. I hope the camera can show you how clean this record is. It plays beautifully. So I'm very, very happy. This is one of my favorite albums from Pink Floyd. Quite a change, really, from their debut. I like this more than their debut. And this particular era, the next, I say 2, 3, 4, 5 albums I kind of classify as one different era of Pink Floyd. I really, really like this album. I guess the Syd Barrett did appear in one song on this. Yeah, Jug Band Blues was the only contribution that I think Syd Barrett was part of with this album. So I think through several failed attempts of getting him involved in the second album, I think the rest of the band finally just gave up and said, we're going to have to move on without him. And there's so much history and so much written about and so many different videos and whatnot. I'm really not here to talk about that so much as I am just to show you my collection. So moving on, after that they did an album, a soundtrack album, let's see here. Did I go out of order? Yeah, I'm just a little bit out of order here. But here, I'll just go by my discography here. I'm using a cheat sheet online. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, this is a soundtrack to More. This came out in 1969. This is on Harvest, and I do believe this is an original copy. This was probably one of the last things I was able to add to my collection. Had a hard time finding this. I see a lot of them out there. They're usually really, really in poor condition, and I was able to find this one in decent condition, and the cover was really nice, and although it does not have an insert, somebody might have to tell me what the original insert was like on this. It is on the Harvest label, and it is extremely clean and plays really beautifully, so I'm very, very happy that I have a nice, clean playing copy of this. By no means is this my favorite. Probably, if I was to do a ranking, this would probably be last on their albums. I'm not a huge fan of the soundtrack. I think it's one of their weaker efforts, and many, many better things were to come from Pink Floyd later on, but you know, it certainly is worth having, and it was one of the last albums I was able to add to my collection, so I was really happy to get a nice, clean playing copy of More. I'm not familiar with the film. I don't know if this was a box office hit in 1969 or anything about the film, so I guess, being frank with you, I just really don't care. You know, it is what it is when it comes to that one. It's not my favorite, and I frankly don't know a lot about it. Moving on here, so let's see here. We're going to go out of order here a little bit and talk about, let's see here. I guess I have a copy of it, but yeah, this is a little bit confusing for me, because I think there is a copy of their next album, and I hope I don't butcher the title, Omigawa. This happens to be the one that has, and I've seen various different incarnations of this. I know the covers change. I don't know all the details of this, but this has the complete studio album, and this contains 2 LPs. This contains a second LP. I guess it's a live recording. Studio album and Omigawa live at Mother's College, Birmingham, 1969. So anyway, I really do enjoy this one. This again is on the Harvest label. I will show you this. I didn't pay a lot for this. It was $15. I think this is really actually pretty common, and this is not anywhere near an original pressing. This is on the Capitol label. But again, you can see that it's very, very clean. And that's always number one, first and foremost, for me, is to get good, clean playing copies. Because I do want to enjoy my records. You know, that's what it's all about. So more so than just having originals that might be beat up and scuffed and don't sound too good, I'd rather have one that sounds great. So here's the gatefold, if you've never seen that. And just really pleased to have a good playing copy of this. So Omigawa came out in 1969. I suppose if I ever found one on the Harvest label that was in great condition and I couldn't pass it up, then I probably would try to get that as well, as long as it wasn't priced out of my range. So here's my copy of that one. I'm going to have to speed this up or we're going to be here forever. Next one I will show you is from 1970, called, as you guys know, I almost feel like you guys know more about Pink Floyd than I do. I'm just really here to show you my collection. This is a real nice copy of Atom Heart Mother. Someone's going to have to tell me, again, I'm not that concerned with original versus non-original. I will show you what I got, and someone can comment, okay, you've got this pressing or that pressing or whatever the case may be. Feel free to let me know. But as you can see, I'm not terribly concerned about it. Again, I bought this one because it was very, very clean. Here is the label, or not the label, but the insert, and it is on Harvest. But I do not think this is original. It's probably somewhat recent, not recent, but it's probably a maybe a second or third pressing is my guess on this one. But again, very, very clean, sounds wonderful. I will say all of these Harvest pressings sound remarkable. So even if you find one in good condition or one that doesn't look like maybe it should be in your collection, you might give it a try, because these harvest pressings are amazing. As you all probably know, that's Adam Hart Mother. 1971, this is probably the crown jewel of my early Pink Floyd collection. This is my copy of Metal. Now this I do know is a clean, I bought this and it's in shrink. Now I did take it out of the shrink, but I did save the label, and you can see what I paid for it. Just to give you some idea. I was quite happy with it. And I'm always very careful with this album, because this is kind of the best I've got in my early Pink Floyd collection. This is a wonderful, wonderful copy. It's still stiff. I mean, I can't even open it fully. This is a beautiful copy of Metal that came out in 1971. And I will show you the label on this one. Maybe we can do some comparisons on this one compared to the other. See, this one looks a little bit different to me. This is a beautiful copy, though. And you can see how bright and bold the yellow is in the Harvest, and how simple the label is. And I think that may be the difference between very first pressings on Harvest and maybe a later pressing on Harvest, like I just showed you with Adam Hart Mother. So this to me is really a very proud piece of my Pink Floyd collection. So I'm really, really pleased with it. So this one does have another insert in it as well. I guess it's just plain white, so I'll leave it in there. But that may have been the original insert. I put it in one of them anti-static ones just to preserve it. Okay, so sorry that I'm taking the time to put these back, but I do take care of my records. I baby them. So Metal. If I was going to do a ranking, this would probably be right up there, maybe towards the very top, if not my favorite Pink Floyd album. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about rankings and what my favorites are and all that, but I always enjoy this album. I think this really is spectacular. This is one of their finest moments recorded, so I love it. Let's see, we've got the next one here. This is called Obscured by Clouds, if you've never seen it. Here is the back. Lovely, lovely cover. I love it. It just is trippy and psychedelic, and I guess you really maybe shouldn't call music from 1972 psychedelic anymore, but they were still kind of in that phase. It is again on the Harvest label, and probably not original, but I think it's early enough. I'm almost tempted to say this might be an original. I'm just not 100% sure. I guess if anybody wants details on my collection, if anyone's curious enough to know, I will give you the numbers on the dead wax, and you can do the research. I don't want to make it sound like I don't care, because I do get excited when I get original copies, but something is telling me that this one is probably not original, but I think it's early. So there you have it. Obscured by Clouds, 1972. 1973, y'all know what's coming next. Now, I will say I don't have anywhere near an original copy of this. This is a recent 2000s remaster of this album, 180 gram heavyweight vinyl. Really, really well done. I mean, I go for sound. I love this album. This is their masterpiece, the one that everyone knows inside and out, like the back of their hand. Every note has been dissected, every lyric has been thought about and talked about a billion times. Here is my copy of it, and I'm just happy as heck to have it on a very nice playing copy. I'd love to hear an original. I'd like to compare them. I'm sure the original sounds remarkable, amazing. Maybe someday I'll run into one that I just cannot say no to, but that's what I have. 1975, they released Wish You Were Here, kind of the same thing. This is a 2000s remaster, reissue, and it comes with the original replica of the outer black sleeve, and on the inside is, of course, the traditional looking. I'll show it to you. And in the event that somebody out there watching my channel has never seen the album cover to Wish You Were Here, I will show you what it looks like. And there you have it. This is what they did with the remastered version of it in the 2000s. Not exactly sure what year this came out. It is not a gatefold, and it's just heavyweight vinyl, and sounds wonderful. So I think in the effort of time, I'll just leave that out and put it away after the video. But I'm really, really happy with those 2000 remasters, reissues. So if you're wondering what should I buy, that might be a great alternative, because I'm sure that the originals go for pretty big money. Another one high on my list came out in 1977. I absolutely love this album. I know my friend Jeremy considers this his favorite, or I think your favorite Pink Floyd album, that is Animals. You've all seen it, you've all talked about it, you've all heard it 1,000 times or more. So there's really no reason for me to go into great detail about Animals, other than tell you, if you haven't heard it, this is a must-have for your Pink Floyd collection, and I would encourage anybody to pick this up, and I'm sure it would become one of your favorite albums in your collection. And if it doesn't, you'll be one of the only people that, when pigs fly, it doesn't like this album. It's a classic. Okay, so moving on to 1979, you all know that that was the year that The Wall came out. I will say this is one of the very few, one of my least favorite Pink Floyd albums. I don't get it. I won't say I don't get it, but I don't get the absolute love and passion for it like some people do. It's a complicated album. It's, I guess, one of their more commercially successful albums. One of their more loved albums, and to me it's like a whole different genre again of Pink Floyd. They've had very different changes throughout their career, and this is one that it's a personal choice that I just don't like it as much as some of their others. I do listen to it from time to time. I do enjoy it from time to time. Yeah, I'm very proud to have it, and I think it should be in everybody's vinyl collection who's a serious collector, but it's just not a personal favorite of mine, despite the millions of copies sold. What does it say here on my sheet? U.S. copies over 14 million. It's one of the most best-selling albums of all time. One album that I think is probably one of my least favorite, if I'm being honest, is their final album with Roger Waters, and that is The Final Cut. Not much of a fan of this. This is a dark, depressing album. Very serious. I will say one interesting thing about this album, I don't know how rare it is, that it does say that this is the special band version for radio. Don't know exactly what that means. Don't know if that's particularly rare. Don't know really if that makes it special or not, but I thought I would show you my hype sticker and let you know that I have a copy that says special band version for radio. This album I have tried very numerous times over the years. My brother loves this album. I just never really got into it. Excuse me while I have a sip of water there. It's just a dark, depressing album for me, and was Roger Waters' last piece of music with Pink Floyd, and I just simply don't enjoy it very much. Okay, moving on to the post-Roger Waters era. A lot of people say that was the end of Pink Floyd. That's all they ever wanted, and they never needed anything else. Now I disagree with that. Let me see if I can get this over here a little bit closer. Momentary Lapse of Reason was the first album that they released after Roger Waters left the band. Very, very solid album. One of my favorites, actually. A lot of people would disagree with that and say it's garbage. I just don't. So what can I say? This video is going really long, so I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit. And then they had one final album post Roger Waters' studio album. I'm going to show you this one first, just with a word of warning. If you see copies of this Division Bell, where it says color vinyl, it's on blue vinyl, 99% of these are bootlegs. I know, Derek Higgins, you have an original. I've seen a couple originals. Even though that it's well done, nice and glossy, looks good, you might be attracted to the pretty blue vinyl. I would say stay away from it because it sounds like garbage. This is nothing more than just taking space on my shelf, and unfortunately it's just not even worth playing, so it's really a piece of garbage. So unfortunately I have nothing good to say about that other than I think I wasted $38 when I bought it. So, just a word of warning, if you see these out and about at record fairs or in your local shops or online, just don't bother. But the good news is, of course, everyone knows they re-released that album just this past year on a beautiful pressing, which is done very, very well on a 2 LP set. This is the one to get. The originals, if you can find it, you're a lucky person. But this is outstanding. Wonderful pressing of the Division Bell, and one of my personal favorites. I really, really like this album, and every time I hear it, it just seems to get better. So if you haven't given time to this, or if you've dismissed it because it doesn't have Roger Waters, I kind of say, well, shame on you, because bands are allowed to evolve and move on when members don't want to be part of them anymore, and Roger Waters didn't want to be part of Pink Floyd anymore. Maybe they didn't want him, or he didn't want them, I'm not sure, but it's definitely a great album. Having throat issues here. Alright, so finally, this past year, again, they released one more studio album. I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's very fresh and new, and everyone who wanted it probably has it. The Endless River. It is a beautiful, beautiful package, I will say that. It's just one of my favorite album covers of all time. I just really, really love it. It's just a beautiful work of art. I like the inside of it. I like the packaging. What I don't really care for too much, sadly, is the music. I just think it was a bit unnecessary, and if I'm being honest, a little bit of a money grab. Now, I might get some people that don't like that comment and disagree. I'm okay with that. You know, it's a matter of it's a 50-50 kind of thing with that last album, The Endless River, came out in November of last year. I just don't particularly like it. I think it's pretty weak effort, so yeah, I'll leave it at that. A couple other things I'll show you, some other live albums that I've got. The Delicate Sound of Thunder, really, really nice tour album that they came out with after the Division Bell. I think that this is one of the best live albums I have, and certainly worth having in your collection. I have this compilation that is a little bit unnecessary, but I just found it cheap and thought, okay, well, I don't have it, so it should be part of my Pink Floyd collection, called Works. And let's see, I've got a couple other unofficial things. I've got this Pink Floyd complete BBC sessions. This is cool because it is on a really cool. It's a 2 LP set, first of all. It's a non-gatefold. The inside's very plain and very simple, but it is on this beautiful marbleized gray slab of wax. Both vinyls look about like that. And I would say the sound quality on this is fantastic. So if you see these, don't be afraid to pick them up, because they're not that expensive. And this is really worth having. Now, unlike the bootleg of the Division Bell, which is garbage, this is a really, really good bootleg. So this is just BBC stuff that they recorded at the BBC. And obviously there's Mr. Barrett, and this is early stuff. But it is well worth having. Highly recommend that. And I also highly recommend this unofficial release called Live in Pompeii. You've probably all seen the DVD, you've seen it online, you've seen it many, many, many times. It is a fabulous recording around the time, I think, that Omigawa was out. I think is around that time, maybe Obscured by Clouds era. Somebody probably will, I'm going to be shamed in the VC for not knowing the exact details of some of this stuff, and I'm okay with that. I'll show you the record again because it is one of those pretty bootleg things. A lot of these bootlegs come on these nice color vinyl, I guess, to make them look more appealing. It really doesn't matter to me at all, but, it is what it is. But again, very high recommendation, big thumbs up for the sound quality of this. And if you see it out and about, if you see it online and you're questioning, should I get it or should I not, I would say a big yes on that one. Let's see, last year, this has nothing really to do with Pink Floyd other than it's their music. This is a tribute album called Back Against the Wall. Some semi-famous people, performed by members of King Crimson, Jethro Tull, The Doors, Yes, ELP, Styx, Toto and the Tubes. I think it's pretty good. This is on 2 LPs. It's solid white vinyl. Pretty nice tribute, really. I mean, it's certainly better than the art of McCartney, when McCartney had his tribute album last year as well. Here's if you want to pause it, you can see a list of the people that were involved. Not a bad effort here, really. I quite enjoyed this when I heard it, and I think it will make my turntable again. So, I don't know how limited edition means, but it was only $20, and I thought, well, what the heck, I'll try it. Let's see, what else can I show you? You guys know a little bit, I'm a tape collector. I've got Animals on cassette tape. I've got The Division Bell on cassette tape. This sounds remarkable, even on cassette. I've got Saucer Full of Secrets on cassette. This one is probably done in 80s, probably an 80s reissue. But sounds great. I've got, these are a couple cool things, actually. I've got Pulse. Now, I do not have the vinyl of Pulse. I would love to have the vinyl of Pulse, but if anyone's got a spare $1,400, I would certainly take it. But the cassette tape is really cool. It's got its own case, and, it's a two cassette collection there, and sounds amazing, even on cassette tape. I gotta tell you, I personally think the cassette even sounds a little bit better than the CD, which I also have a copy of here to show you. The battery's worn out, does not light up, it doesn't resonate the little pulse anymore. But the reason I bought this really was for the booklet. It has really nice artwork inside. I'll show you a couple, just tour photos, really. This was one of their last big world, if not their last big world tour that they did, and it is spectacular. I have this actually on DVD as well. This is just the 2 CD set that probably the majority of people who have it or want it have it already. I found this at Half Price Books. I think it was $12.99. And unfortunately, you can see that you can kind of see what it would do if the battery, with the lighting in my room, you could kind of see what it would do if the battery worked. I don't know if I'll put a new battery in there or not. Don't really care. I guess if maybe someday I'm bored, I might do that. Last but not least, I'm just going to show you these because they're fun, and I've understood that a lot of people in other parts of the world, other than America, have never seen these before. I've got 3 laser discs to show you. This is Pink Floyd in concert. This is The Delicate Sound of Thunder. I'm going to show you one of these, so don't worry, I'm not going to show you them all because they all look the same. I guess I'll just show you the one. Why not? They all look the same. Laser discs was the format introduced between VHS and DVD, I guess. This is how a laser disc looks. It looks kind of like a vinyl record, but it also like a big DVD. That both sides play, if you've never seen one before. And you do need, of course, a special player. I don't have one. I bought these in a thrift store because I thought they were cool. And I didn't want someone else to take them. So I've got this Delicate Sound of Thunder. I've got the Live at Pompeii. And I bet you this would look really good and probably sound really good if I could play it. I think these were actually done in analog. I could be wrong. Someone tell me if I'm wrong. But these really, although they look digital, I don't think they were digital. This is pre-digital age. I could be wrong. But you can kind of see what the going price was for laser discs at the time. This looks like an original sticker. I promise you, I did not pay that. I think I paid $3 for this. Unfortunately, the player's working, get a little bit high, so I have not broken down and got one because I don't have a lot of these. I've got about a dozen maybe. But I was going to play a trick on you guys and say I do have Pulse on vinyl because it looks like the vinyl, but it is a laser disc. It's so pretty though. I love the artwork on this album. So I've got, I've got CD, cassette, and laser disc. So now I just need the vinyl. I'm going to have everything that can possibly be had. But I'll show you the inner sleeves real quick. I'm sorry this video has really gone long. But this is a two set. You can see the Mr. Gilmore there. And right, and you know, all the three members of the band that were there, and then this other one here. So, you know, if you are a silly collector and just like collecting silly things, that might be something worth checking out. So, you know, laser discs were just, I don't know, they didn't last that long. Maybe 10 years, maybe. I don't know. But it is just a really cool conversation piece when someone comes over or anyone's interested. So, phew, 35 minutes. Oh my God, you guys are going to kill me. Showing Pink Floyd stuff. And I really didn't talk at all in detail. I didn't talk about the members. I didn't talk, you know, I didn't do research. I really just wanted to show you my collection. I've done that, so I guess it's time for me to sign off. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. It's a little bit different for me. I usually try to go in depth about an artist and get you turned on to newer things and get you excited to hear something and talk in detail. I didn't do that today, but I still hope you enjoyed it. And I'll be back next week with something different. And until then, hope you have a great weekend ahead, and we'll see you real soon. Bye for now.